Developing news out of Ferguson, Missouri tonight, with a firestorm engulfing the prosecutor in charge of the Michael Brown shooting investigation. The St. Louis County prosecutor, Bob McCullough, has extended the grand jury until the end of the year. The jury now has until January 7th to make a decision on charges. And it comes as we learn that Michael Brown's killer, Officer Darren Wilson, testified before the grand jury just yesterday. NBC News has not confirmed this, but according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Wilson testified for almost 4 hours. So they heard from the shooter. We heard from witnesses. Why would the grand jury be delayed? Why do they need another 16 weeks? Joining me now is Liz Brown, attorney and columnist for the St. Louis American. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Reverend.
Liz, Officer Wilson has testified. So why do we have to wait 16 weeks for the grand jury?
We could have asked that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We haven't needed the amount of time that has been given to this grand jury to prosecute this case, to seek and find an indictment. There's no reason for this. I
mean, we know who did the shooting. There's no question that the young man is dead. We know the cause of death. We've heard from 7 witnesses publicly saying something. Now they've heard from the policeman. So why do they need to delay the answer or delay their results? 3 months.
Well, there's a political reason for this, and there's a strategical reason for this. There's not a legal reason for this. The political and strategical reason for this is they are trying to test the resolve and to make certain, or to hope that people calm down and the issue becomes another issue. This is all about timing. It's about dragging it out, dragging it into winter, assuming that there will not be the passion, the fury, or any of the actions that will take place if the non-indictment came down today.
But the question becomes, and as you know, when many of us came in and I had the request of the family, our position was not to judge where the evidence goes, but to make sure it's a fair process.
Absolutely.
This smacks as being totally unfair. The federal government needs to come in, because how do you delay something when the obvious is there and you've heard from all sides?
And not only that, Reverend, let's look at what they've allowed to happen. The police officer has testified, according to the Post-Dispatch. Now, why is he testifying? Now, is he testifying first before any of the other witnesses? From all reports, it doesn't appear that any witnesses have been subpoenaed to come in and testify in front of that grand jury. So what does it do if Darren Wilson gets to testify first? He gets to set the tone. All questions then will be attempted to be fit into his narrative. And we also have to understand and make sure that we remember this, that Darren Wilson is the defendant. Darren Wilson is the defendant. What does that mean in this case? It means that the defendant got to write the police report. The defendant got to write that.
And clearly he is not obligated as the suspect, as the defendant, to go in front of the grand jury at all.
He's not, but the only reason that his attorney would have allowed him to go in there and to testify for 4 hours is because it's a friendly environment. It's an environment that is friendly towards police officers. That's not a rap against the grand jury. That's simply what it is. And also, he's been allowed to testify after he's listened to all of the evidence that is going to be put against him. And he's allowed to testify with a blank police report. So it's a perfect environment for this person to go in and testify. And so it's a dream case for the defendant's attorney.
There are no police reports, blank police reports.
That's correct.
He's heard what the witnesses are saying.
That is correct.
And the DA decides what is put in front of the grand jury or not.
Absolutely.
And now the DA announces, and by the way, I'm going to need another 16 weeks. And people wonder why people like me looking in from the outside said, no, the federal government needs to take this so that we will at least know what really is happening, because this just gives people a sense that the process is not fair.
This is neither fair nor impartial, Reverend, clearly.
Well, we're certainly going to be following this, and we're certainly going to be really questioning what is going on with this situation. Liz Brown, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
One of the things that I think that was clear from the beginning is that we cannot continue to see cases being questioned by local citizens because local prosecutors do things that make people question whether or not they're getting a fair investigation and therefore fair results. We've called on the federal government to step in and take this case. We will continue to do that now. This delay is something troubling. Dr. King used to say, justice delayed, justice denied. Thanks for watching. I'm Al Sharpton. Hardball starts right now.